Hi everyone, we are Ilaria and Francesca from Task Force. I used to lead the initiative promoted by Action and Italy. And since today we are all stuck in our place because of the pandemic situation, we want still to travel virtually. And today we are landing in the Philippines.
Yes, indeed. Today we are in the Philippines, a wonderful land. And with us we have two young activists, Ysabel and Sabina. Hello, guys. So, Ysabel, what is the meaning of your country's name? Or can you share an interesting historical fact with us?
So yeah, we came from the Philippines. So Philippines is actually a group of islands, and we were named from the King Philip II, the Spaniard king that conquered us. So the Spaniards came and discovered Philippines, and then they named our group of islands Philippines under the name of their king, of course. And I think an interesting historical fact that sometimes books leave out that when the Spaniards came, we already have we're not savages when they came in. We're already we have an established government, we have an established system before they came in, just like any conquerors do when they try to rewrite history. But yeah, we're a group of islands, I think 7,107 islands and 187 languages. So yeah.
So, Sabina, what are the Philippines famous for?
I think the Philippines is famous for a lot of things, but I think that we could note that it's like an archipelago, and there are like over 7,000 islands in it. It's also called the text capital of the world because so many people just text in this country, and then we just have like so many shopping malls. We have lots of different exotic fruits, like we have lots of coconuts, mangoes, papayas, mangosteens. We have durians and bananas, and I don't know, the beaches are really nice here in the Philippines, so I think we should take note of that. So if you like beaches, you should go to the Philippines. And I think we really have like a rich culture because of all like, I don't know, it's a mixture of like our own culture and that of the people who've conquered us before, like the US, Spain, and Japan, and maybe other neighboring countries too.
We are discovering lots of things about the Philippines.
Yes.
Yeah,
Really?
yeah, and interesting things and facts. But we don't know so much about you girls. So, Ysabel, can you introduce yourself?
I'm Isa. You can call me Isa. So my name is Ysabel. I'm Isa. I'm 22 years old. I'm from Rizal, Philippines. So it's a province just beside Manila, the capital of the Philippines. And I guess I became an activist because the institution that I was brought into when I was in college opened my eyes to the truth, and I wanted to take action. I wanted to shape that. I wanted to take charge of the future that I want to be in. So that's when I decided to become an activist. Yeah.
What about you, Sabina?
I'm Sabina. I'm 18 years old. I recently graduated from high school, and I live in Quezon City, which is in Metro Manila in the Philippines. And I'm a student, and one of the things that made me decide to become an activist is basically the political atmosphere that we have here and all the rising issues that we have like all around us. So I think I've decided to become an activist in like my first year in high school. So by simply like speaking up against like all the bad things happening and the injustice, the corruption of the government, I think that that's where I discovered that I like activism and that I should continue with it, and that I should fight for like all the social issues that we could see in our society today.
So I just want to go back to Ysabel to ask her, what are the challenges and main problems that, in your opinion, young people face in the Philippines?
One of the main problems of the youth today, especially in the Philippines, is representation. Is a proper representation in terms of leading, like not just in the government but in NGOs as well, in CSOs as well. In the Philippines, most of the youth, the range in youth, like 15 to 30 years old, are actually the biggest chunk of the population here in the Philippines. But in terms of leading government or leading social change or
Mhm.
leading Philippines, it's always the youth that is the last that is being represented. Or sometimes they give you like a platform, but they do not really listen to you well because you're young. People do not take the time to take you seriously. Just like, for example,
True.
I was able to be in a certain platform where I could speak, and it's intimidating to be in a platform where you're the only one that's only carrying your your issues, carrying the issues of the youth as well. And in terms of Congress, we only have like one party list that's concerned about the youth advocacies. So it's still hard. We're still pushing through that. I think it's still a barrier for us. We've been really proactive, and I think it's about time that our leaders will try to listen to the youth for once, or yeah, to make a change.
So Sabina, which were
Yes.
which are the activities that you are carrying out on the ground to address these problems that the youth are facing in your country, and how these activities have been shaped by the COVID situation?
Because of like the COVID situation, most of the our activities are done online because of the lockdown. It was kind of illegal for us to go outside, so we can't really meet up or protest or something. So we just have like meetings, campaigns, Twitter rallies, and we'd post posters and videos online. And I think with the lockdown, I became like more active with my orgs because prior to that, I was busy with like exams, projects, and other events I had to go to. But since I had so many free time, um, I don't know, I spent because we can't go out and meet up with friends or do outdoor activities or travel. I decided to reach out to like my orgs some more, and I tried to volunteer as much as I could. And with each of the orgs, we were able to come up with like various projects, especially surrounding all the issues that have appeared, like with the anti-terror bill that we have in the Philippines that would kind of that would kind of drive our country towards martial law, the Black Lives Matter movement that came back, and um all the all the racism and all the sexism, especially, and all the corrupt things that our country has been doing, especially with taking advantage of the situation that we have in COVID. One of my organizations is Youth for Mental Health, and currently, because we know that like a lot of bad things have been happening around us, um I think I think we're all facing challenges. So I think that the rates of like the number of people having like depression is like increased. So our job as an organization catered to mental health is really to be there to listen to people. We host like sessions wherein we just discuss things. We have like focus groups where we can talk about like issues, like in like for example now in Pride Month, we had one dedicated to LGBT issues. And then we also since we can't really help people out um physically, we just I don't know, we post like we make like videos to entertain them, or like when hospitals were needing like personal protective equipment we donated.
So, guys, this goes to both of you, but I will ask Ysabel to start. Do you have any inspiring story of change to share with other activists from the Philippines?
Yeah, I think right now, as Sabina mentioned, we have a looming anti-terror bill law that's going to really harm the democracy that we've built here in the Philippines, and that's going to harm the type of activism and our free speech to really show dissent whenever we could. And right now, it's kind of a scary situation, but I think one of the inspiring changes are, for example, we had like a peaceful full rally um, for the anti-terror law, and then there's the students that had done that were violently arrested, and it blowed up in the social media. And after a while, it pushed really for their release. And also, right now with the anti-terror law that's being passed that I think in 40 days it's going to be passed. But right now, because of our dissent, there are lots of congresswomen and congressmen that are withdrawing their yes votes. So I think in that sense, in this time of the pandemic, it's really important that we show our dissent. It's really important to show our voice and to call out when there's an oppression uh, in front of us. And it's okay to call it out. It's okay for it to be out there so that they know that it's not okay, that it's not, that we're not going to stand by it. And I think in that sense, we're still fighting for it. But right now, I think it's great that, that the voice that we have is something that they're taking action into. So I think that's one of the really great stories that coming out from this pandemic.
What about you, Sabina?
So I'm actually a student journalist, and I write in the school paper. So one of the things that really struck me was the shutdown of one of our country's biggest TV media networks, which is ABS-CBN. So they were shut down because of like the government has been trying to shut them down for like so long. And like last month, I believe, they were finally shut down and they were off air. Like they weren't allowed to broadcast anything anymore. And after that, it really affected a lot of people. Like so many, like most of the people that I know who aren't really aware, or like most of the people that I know who don't really care about like social issues, like for them it was like the last straw. Like they realized that the government is like controlling us too much. It's like they're trying to get rid of our freedom of speech. And because of that, a lot of people started to speak out on the need for press freedom. And then later on, like this month, Maria Ressa, who is the founder of Rappler, another media company, was arrested by some rich businessman, and like she was considered to be guilty because of something that something that one of her writers wrote in Rappler. And because of that, we realized that our justice system is very messed up, and because of that we should still keep on fighting, because all of the things that are happening, especially to the people in media who are just telling the truth and not really siding with the government, like they're really being ostracized and they're being told to keep quiet, or they're trying to be shut down by the government.
Finally, do you have a takeaway message to spread hope and to push the other guys, the other activists across the world to carry on with their fight on the ground?
Yeah, definitely. From all these stories, sometimes it's kind of scary, to speak out. whatever you do may not be able to do something. But I think you have to remember that, I think that this platform is really good because it reminds us of the purpose of why we did become like an activist, of why we decided to speak out. And I think we always have to go back to that, especially when we encounter blockage, or we experience like powerful people trying to press us down, trying to make us stop. And I think it's a double-edged sword. It's kind of scary, but at the same time, you're seeing that now that your voice is being loud enough, now that your actions are being loud enough, you know that you're being heard and you are irritating them a bit, and that they're deciding to take action to not let you speak out because you're making like an action. It's taking like a ripple effect. And I think in its way, you're going to see that from each step that you take, each step that you try to speak out, to try to speak out, you're trying to change the future that you're going to own. So there's nothing to be really afraid of, and you have like the whole community right behind you. Um, and yeah, that this fight is not yours alone, but the fight for each advocacy that we're fighting for. So I think, yeah, that's my takeaway message for every activist out there.
For me, I think that you shouldn't be afraid to speak out on all the issues happening. Like, you should find the courage, even if like you're afraid of like those in authority who may come after you, because like by speaking out, you can like educate people, including those at fault, and you could even like give justice to someone who's experienced the same. And by doing that, you can really like cause like a good domino effect, and it's really gonna change the values that we consider to be norms here in society.
I think most of us share your view about the possibility and the need actually to speak out, no matter where we are in the world. So we're all facing different issues in different contexts. So thanks once again for having been our guests. We hope you enjoyed the chat as much as we did. Thank you and bye-bye.
Thank you so much. We had
Thank
fun.
you so much.